Your top story, veteran struggle icon Winnie Madikizela Mandela has died at the age of 81. Her family issued a statement confirming the sad news. According to the statement issued by the family, Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela succumbed to her death peacefully, surrounded by her family and loved ones at Milpark Hospital in Johannesburg. Winnie Mandela passed on after a long illness for which she had been in and out of hospital for.
We'd like to request that you all bear with us. Obviously, this unfortunate incident is one that none of us had predicted. And we'll do our best to ensure that everyone is well informed. You know that our grandmother played an important role to all of us that sit in this room and to the global society. It's a tragic loss to us all, so I send condolences to everyone, to all that loved and supported Mama Winnie Mandela and the family.
I've lost a mother. I happen to have two mothers in my life. I appreciate and I thank God for that. 21 years has gone past. I've been working with my aunt as a protector. We worked very well, and I have very, very sad and beautiful moments with her. There were moments whereby as a child and the aunt we will have some fighting, yes, but we understand each other, then everything was well. For these past 21 years, she was a mother, she loved her children, she loved her grandchildren, and you wouldn't do anything without them.
Born in Bizana in the Eastern Cape in 1936, she moved to Johannesburg to study social work after matriculating. She met lawyer and anti-apartheid activist Nelson Mandela in 1957, and they were married a year later. They had 2 children together. Mandela was soon arrested in 1963 and sentenced to life in prison for treason. Nelson Mandela was eventually released in 1990, and during Mandela's time in prison, Madikizela Mandela suffered under the threat of apartheid forces. She was placed under house arrest and at one time banished to Brandfort, a town in the Free State. In 1969, Madikizela Mandela became one of the first detainees under Section 6 of the notorious Terrorism Act of 1967. She was detained for 18 months in solitary confinement in a condemned cell at Pretoria Central Prison before being charged under the Suppression of Communism Act of 1950.
It's a deep sadness that we have learned of the passing away of Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela. Even at the deepest moments of our struggle for liberation, Mama Winnie was an abiding symbol of the desire of our people to be free. In the midst of repression, she was a voice of defiance and resistance. In the face of exploitation, she was a champion of justice and equality. Throughout her life, she made an everlasting contribution to the struggle through sacrifice and her unyielding determination. Her dedication to the plight of her people gained her the love and the respect of the nation. For many years, she bore the brunt of the senseless brutality of the apartheid state with stoicism and fortitude. Despite the hardships she faced, she never doubted that the struggle for freedom and democracy would triumph and succeed. She remained throughout her life a tireless advocate for the dispossessed and the marginalized. She was a voice for the voiceless. In the coming days, as we mourn the passing of this heroine of our struggle, let us reflect on her rich, remarkable, and meaningful life. Let us draw inspiration from the struggles that she fought and the dream of a better society to which she dedicated her entire life. Today, we have lost a mother, a grandmother, a friend, a comrade, a leader, and an icon. As South Africans, we collectively pass our condolences to the Madikizela and Mandela families. Your loss is our loss as well. May her soul rests in peace.
Mrs. Madikizela Mandela was one of the greatest icons of the struggle against apartheid. She fought valiantly against apartheid state and sacrificed her whole life for the freedom of her country. Her activism and resistance to apartheid landed her in jail on numerous occasions, eventually causing her banishment to the small town of Brantford in the then Orange Free State. She kept the memory of her imprisoned husband, another icon, Nelson Mandela, alive during the years on Robben Island, and helped give the struggle for justice in our country one of its most recognizable faces. She dedicated most of her life to the cause of our people. Mama Winnie Mandela was identified by the masses of our people as the mother of the nation. This was in recognition of a fearless and uncompromising stand that she took against the might of the apartheid regime. She was really a colossus who strode the Southern African political landscape. As the ANC, we dip our revolutionary banner in salute of this great icon of our liberation struggle. The Mandela family are deeply grateful for the gift of her life, and even as our hearts break at her passing, we urge all those who loved her to celebrate this most remarkable South African woman.
With the departure of Mama Winnie, one of the very few who are left in our stalwarts and icons of the struggle, she is one of those who would tell us exactly what is wrong and what is right at any time. We're going to be missing that because it is not just being an icon because of the length of your involvement in the struggle. You become an icon when you provide that guidance. We are here to send our condolences to the Mandela and the Madikizela families. These are two families. The African National Congress, as the third family, is also sending its condolences. The President will be visiting the family home this evening, and I would imagine that he will make a comment there.
Cyril Ramaphosa announced that the struggle icon will receive a state funeral on the 14th of April. An official memorial will take place 3 days earlier on the 11th of April.
The African National Congress and the nation today mourns the passing of an icon of the liberation struggle, a revolutionary and a stalwart of our glorious movement, Mama Winifred Madikizela Mandela. And the ANC lowers its revolutionary banner in honor of the memory of this great woman who was so loved and revered and whose name will forever be inscribed in history, have played such a formative role in the history of South Africa. Comrade Winnie Madikizela Mandela dedicated her life to the betterment of her people, and she worked for the realization right until the end of her life. She was an inspiration to both young and old who shared a vision of egalitarian, prosperous, and free South Africa. And generation of activists, not just in South Africa, but around the world today, deeply mourn her as we do. Mama Winnie, as she was popularly known, would have celebrated the rich age of 82 years in September this year, but it was not meant to be. We mourn the passing of this great patriot and Pan-African, whose resilience and courage inspired freedom fighters, not only in South Africa, but across Africa and diaspora.
Well, joining us now with the latest developments is ANN7 reporter Sindisiwe Twala. She joins us live from outside the family home in Orlando West in Soweto. Good morning to you, Sindisiwe. Last night we heard this very, very sad news that the mother of the nation, as she was known, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, had passed on in Mill Park Hospital. Just talk us through any developments outside the home this morning.
A very sad morning to you as well as the viewers. Like you cited, South Africa and the world at large has lost the mother of South African nation. What is interesting about her life is that people from all over the world have come out to basically pay their tributes. Archbishop Desmond Tutu from the country basically said she refused to be bowed by her husband's imprisonment. Ace Magashule, the Secretary General, also said we mourn the passing of a great patriot and Pan-Africanist. Idris Alba, who is an internationally acclaimed actor, basically said, "Rest in peace, Mama." Even in the continent at large, the Nigerian president also came out saying that she was a woman of an uncommon determination. From what we're seeing, she's a woman that was made of steel. She's a woman who was very strong, who continued to fight even after her then husband was imprisoned. They'd been married for a total of 4 decades. However, of those 4 decades, they didn't spend as much time because we know that Nelson Mandela was in prison. She's also faced jail time, but she continued to fight. The nice thing about her that a lot of people are talking about right now is that she was a person who never minced her words. She said what she felt, and she also stood by her words. So it's going to be interesting seeing different people from different walks of life, different political parties coming to basically mourn her death, to actually talk about the person she was. We know that she was quite close to Julius Malema, the president of the EFF, even though she's known to be a staunch ANC supporter, even to her death. We also know that even other political parties are also going to come through. But having spoken to Pule Mabe, the spokesperson of the ANC, he basically said that they're meeting this morning to discuss the way forward, as this came as a surprise to them. By 11 o'clock, they'll definitely give us the way forward on who will be coming here. We know that the Women's League has confirmed that they'll be coming through at 1 to actually also give their condolences to the family.
Sindisiwe, we do know that, there were numerous press briefings held last night giving details around the funeral arrangements and various things that will be happening in the coming days. Just could you share with us some of those details, please?
The president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, came out and said that she's going to have her official memorial on the 11th of April, and on the 14th of April, that's when she'll be laid to rest in a state funeral. However, he also did mention that there'll be numerous other memorials across the country to celebrate this iconic woman who basically gave her life, opened up her home for South Africans at large. So it's going to be, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be quite busy covering different memorials all across the country, because not everyone is able to come to Joburg. Not everyone will be able to go to the Eastern Cape. But at 11, we await that announcement by Pule Mabe on how exactly that will transpire.
Just lastly, Cindy, I know that it is still quite early this morning, but have you managed to engage with anyone in the area just to have a chat with them about possibly their experiences and interactions with Winnie Madikizela Mandela in the past? What are the people of Soweto saying?
Like you've cited, it's still quite early, but in the next couple of hours, we will be interacting with people in Vilakazi Street, also hearing how they feel about this particular moment. We know that people in Pretoria have been saying that, no, this woman fought for the liberation of our country and deserves a statue. Others saying that, you know what, this woman deserves far more than that. Maybe a day should be given to her. So we're also going to be hearing what the people in Vilakazi, in Soweto, are going to be saying about this iconic woman who's now going to be laid to rest on the 14th of April.
Thank you very much, Sindisiwe, for the update. We'll continue to check in with you throughout the morning and this afternoon to get the latest details from Soweto. That was ANN7 reporter Sindisiwe Twala joining us live from outside the family home in Orlando West, Soweto. But tributes continue to pour in remembrance of the struggle stalwart Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela. Mourners have commended Madikizela Mandela for her gallant fight for liberation. Winnie Madikizela Mandela succumbed to her illness yesterday afternoon. In a statement, her family says Mama Winnie passed on peacefully with loved ones by her side. She affectionately was known as the mother of the nation for her selfless contribution to freedom.
Who have also kept in touch we were not really surprised that she would succumb to this, but we didn't think it would come so soon. But what has happened throughout the years is that she has emerged as some people call a colossus. She has been described as a mother of the nation precisely because her contribution is the one that cannot be denied. It is inscripted in the hearts and souls of people of this country. As a very strong woman and any strong black person, you'll also find that there'll be those who will try to diminish her role. And one must actually state here that it was not only the apartheid government. She was a ferocious enemy of apartheid and oppression, and was able to take the struggle to higher levels of engagement. When the ANC was banned, and most of the leaders and many people could not even talk about the ANC, she was one person who was willing to say, I'm a member of the African National Congress. During those days, just mentioning that would mean you go to jail.